Hey everyone, and welcome to We're Still on the International Break. Like the pay-per-view announcement, also what Project Big Picture is really all about. And of course, we need to preview this weekend's game between Newcastle and Man United. Remember, I upload these videos every single week, so if you haven't subscribed already, do it now. I also enjoy hearing your thoughts on these updates in the comment section, so please do keep them coming as well. Joining me today is Rob, also known as Rubenstein. Thanks so much for joining me, Rob. How's it going?
Yeah, not too bad. Wish we could go outside a little bit more, go to the football, but otherwise, yeah, I'm all good.
Good to hear. And by the way, I'm sure a lot of viewers will know, you're not necessarily known as Rob. You're known as, can you Rubenstein. Where did that come from?
I've mentioned it a couple of times on my channel, but quite a while ago. It was literally just a nickname at one point. And I say a nickname, it was just a friend called me at once, and I was creating my YouTube channel and I wanted to do something different and went for that. I don't know, it's all right. I don't mind being known as it. Sometimes I do think that I've called myself something different, but it's stuck, so
no,
it's okay.
I love it. It's so catchy. It's so memorable. It works.
Oh, good
so
to
yeah,
hear.
Like you said, I'm sure we would rather be looking forward to going to actually watch football games and being on that sort of journey towards, you know, some normality. But that's not the case, unfortunately. And I did think with the international break, there'll be even less to talk about in terms of what's happening and Newcastle related stuff. But actually, we have a lot to talk about because I feel like within the last few days, everything has sort of blown up and a lot of controversial things which we'll talk about. And the first thing I want to talk about, I guess, is the pay-per-view announcement that came. Now, viewers of yours will know you did make a reaction video to this. So guys, I will link that in my description below because that is speaking about it at length. What we're going to do now is just discuss it with a few more updates. So for those viewers who don't know, now on, I guess it was, a few days ago, the Premier League announced their plans to just introduce this pay-per-view, like the tariffs for the next set of games. And obviously it concerns us as Newcastle fans because that tariff it will be starting with the Man United game this weekend. Now, this is a proposal. It's part of a huge, reshape called the Big Picture Plan. No, Project Big Picture, whatever, which we will talk about. But first, if we just talk about the pay-per-view situation, I'm not surprised, there was such a negative stance on it from fans, from pundits. I feel like everyone involved in English football, there was the general narrative of like, hold on, wait, where's this announcement come from? It's not fair. Bearing in mind the current climate, bearing in mind what we already pay for our Sky Sports packages and BT Sport packages, and, it's just no surprise that the masses are unhappy, and I'm very proud that our fan base have taken the initiative to do the donating to the food banks thing, and that's really got trending. And I think it's hit the headlines, So do you think a show of defiance like this will be effective? It is quite a protest from our fan base.
Yeah, I think it's really good. It's nice to see people have come out and as you say, it was when I first saw it, I didn't believe it. I seen it on Instagram. I actually thought it was like a retro photo because back in the day they did used to do the pay-per-view stuff, like the one-off matches and this, that. So when I saw the photo, I thought, oh, that's like a throwback picture, just a show for the weekend. Then having looked into it and seeing that this is a thing, it's £15 just for that one game. It's £15 for each of the 5 different games every weekend is outrageous. And obviously a lot of people are talking about boycotting, we shouldn't pay for it, we should do this, we should do that. And then to put a positive spin on it and try to create some good out of it as well by the Newcastle fans saying that we're going to donate that £15 instead of watching the game to Sky, to the food banks. I think it's a great thing. Will it change Sky's mind? I'm not so sure, but I do think it's a positive thing for the Geordies to do it, and I'm sure more clubs probably are looking to do something similar.
No, they are, exactly. There was a hashtag charity, not PPV. So that got trending. A lot of other clubs did get involved, but obviously we were the leaders in that, which similar to you, I'm so proud of, because that food bank in particular, pre-COVID, they were feeding like 1,000 people every single week. And obviously, in the current climate we're going through in the global pandemic, more than ever, people need to be fed. And, if we can contribute to that, that's something we should really be proud of. But if we're looking at the bigger picture, like you said, will this movement sort of change anything? I don't know. I mean, I'd like to think it does. But then at the same time, do you remember in September when they initially announced all of the fixtures and all of the games that will be televised, and Newcastle didn't feature?
That's true.
Eventually, the channels they bowed down and they allowed it to happen. And our games were then listed for broadcast. Do you think it's more to do with the idea of it, or do you think it's the price point? Because I feel if it was $4.99 or around that region, it wouldn't be accepted, but it'd be more like tolerated in a way. What do you think?
I do think it's a funny one. I think what got me was that because the games, we couldn't go to the games, they were initially doing the games for free, which obviously stopped. And then the only way to watch the games legally was to have Sky or BT or whatever. And then to say it's £15 on top of that. I think even if you said it was £5, it's still on top of that. So you're already expecting everyone to have these £70 a month packages with Sky to watch the football, and then to say, and it's an extra £5 or a 15. I think for people who don't have Sky and never bothered paying into it, if it was a £5 for them to watch a game, like when the Carabao Cups were on, but I've not paid anything else, it's £10, it's a one-off match, I'll pay it. But to be asked to pay this monthly subscription every month for potentially Sky, BT and Amazon, and then be asked to pay more money on top, regardless of whether it's £3 or 15 quid, I think it's just taking the mick. It's like, we're already getting all this money. Can we have £75 more a month if you want to watch all 5 games? So yeah, as I say, I suppose it depends where you're coming from. If you don't pay for any of these packages and you want a one-off game to watch the Newcastle match, then maybe you'll see it as maybe not as bad. But I just think they're asking a lot already of everyone, and then asking for more again is what has ticks people off.
Yeah, I know, I agree. And I think initially, I guess my first question was, where is this money going? Where is this actually going? Because I know where my money's going with subscriptions. And when I did look into it, it seemed that there were proposals for at least a discussion into club revenues from all the pay-per-view games to be immediately channeled into, League One, League Two. And I thought, okay, you know what? Those are leagues that desperately need money, and that's something I'd be open to accepting. But then now that's been postponed because obviously the urgency in this discussion for Project Big Picture, which we're going to move on to now, because obviously that's another issue in itself. So what exactly is Project Big Picture? Well, we only sort of knew about this week, really. The proposals to reshape the finances of English football, they became public just earlier this week. And me personally, I was just very shocked to sort of hear what was going on behind the scenes and all these changes, which are actually enormous changes to, the structure of English football. So there are many proposals which are coming into this plan, really. Firstly, they want to, I guess it's a new way to distribute TV revenues, and there'll be a bailout. There's a proposed bailout for the EFL, which is thought to be like £250 million, which is, obviously a huge amount. Other changes, they want to go down from 20 Premier League clubs to 18. They want to scrap the Carabao Cup and the Community Shield. So we're really talking about a radical restructure here. And today they held an emergency meeting, and all of the Premier League members, they got together and they sort of rejected it, which is quite from top flight clubs to vote in favour. So I guess my first question is, what do you think of Project Big Picture? Like, do you think English football needs an overhaul?
I think it's almost two different questions in that. Do I think English football needs to be looked into in the way it's formatted, where the money goes, in all those things? I think I would say yes. I think the money in football is crazy. It has gone crazy, and I don't think we're necessarily going to stop that. But I do also think that that money should be more evenly spread throughout the league. Especially at a time like now, you know, what was the clubs want to spend as much money on themselves. They want to buy the big players. They want to do this. They want to do that. But in some way, I think that money should be filtered down. So that is answer to question one. Do I think it needs to be looked into? Yes. Question two, what do I think of the big picture, project big picture? It sounds pretty dodgy to me. It sounds like they are, and again, I'm not the expert and I've not read the documents or anything like that, but from what I'm hearing, to me, it sounds like they're throwing the big numbers out there that we will pay the Football League 250 million and we will give the FA 100 million and we will push money around. It's almost like they're trying to get you in. They're like, get everyone on side. We're going to put loads of money in. But then when you actually file down to the deeper detail of some of the stuff that they're proposing, like the fact that, as you say, at the moment, all of the Premier League teams have an even vote. 14 clubs say yes to something, then it's actioned. What they're suggesting is that the teams who have been in the Premier League longer get a weighted vote, and that they only need 6 people to say yes to something. So I wonder who those 6 teams might be. And that's the thing, they get you in, it all sounds great, and then all of a sudden there's a vote off to decide whether a certain Northeast club should be allowed a new Saudi owner. I think the answer might be no. So that's the thing, they're coming forward with some big money ideas that generally sound good, but then as soon as you look past the first layer, you realise it really doesn't sound too great. At least for us, I'm sure Liverpool Man U fans might think it sounds fantastic, but for us and for a lot of other teams, it doesn't sound too good.
Agreed. And actually, I found it quite promising that there was an emergency meeting today, because initial concern was like, whoa, this is all moving so quick. It's actually progressing into something which could change the game for everyone. And especially, you know, clubs that aren't in that top 6. And that's not something we would want. One promising thing yesterday, I heard that the FA chairman, his threat had huge implication ahead with this. And I thought that's actually, a huge statement actually from such, you know, a big figure in English football, because we all know the influence that FA have. And he just sort of said that he didn't think it would be for the betterment of English football. He said the principal aim of the discussions, it turns to, you know, a power change, and that isn't something they wanted to be part of. So a huge threat like that, I mean, the top 6 wouldn't jeopardise their chances of playing in Europe, would they? No. I mean, especially Champions League.
No, I didn't know that. So I think that is a good move by the FA, and it's most likely stop them in their tracks, full stop, really, because that's what they play for, isn't it? Champions League, that's the aim of the season for a lot of teams, if it's not the title. So I bet that slowed them down.
Exactly.
I would, and maybe it's not the best time for it, or maybe it is a good time for it with the pandemic and everything going on. I would still like things to be looked into slightly. I mean, again, it's just the money side of things, and non-league teams who are potentially going out of business and all these things and are asking for help. And then you look at the amount of money spent by the Premier League teams in the summer of a pandemic, it was still pretty crazy. Everyone's out for themselves. We want Newcastle to do well, so Newcastle will spend money on themselves. You know, it wouldn't be cheap even for all the Premier League teams to sort of hand out for every other club in the country. But I would like it to be looked into. Will it be anytime soon? Quite possibly not.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I also think that bailout for the lower league clubs, that is something positive. You know, if they could be helped in the form of like a rescue package, that's not something I would totally, you know, be opposed to. But it's just everything else that comes with it, like the top six, you know, and all of that. I think at the moment, us fans, we deserve a say, or at least some transparency. And I guess the outrage here was really fueled by how abrupt this all was and how it all suddenly came to light, and it was sort of like leaked out to us in a way where we felt we were in the dark. And I think the announcement this week, it just wasn't received positively because there was a huge lack of information. We didn't really know what was going on. We were searching frantically online to figure out what we're potentially facing. You know, we'll have to wait for developments, and I guess we'll just have to hope for the best.
Agreed.
Right? I think now we should look ahead because the international break is nearly over.
Yes.
And I guess the key points here are that Man United are without two star strikers. You know, Cavani is out and Martial is also out. We've got they're coming off that 6-1 embarrassment to Spurs. And we've got a few players back after injury, which is good. You know, Matty Longstaff, Kieran Clark, Paul Dummett, Jamal Lewis. Today, I'm not exactly sure what's happening with his scan, but he didn't, you know, head to Norway with Northern Ireland. So he could be out. But in terms of injuries, we're doing okay, touch wood. What are your expectations for the game?
Well, it's a funny one, isn't it? It's Newcastle, you never know. I tell you what, this is one of the games I would have loved to have been at, especially with the fact that somehow, believe it or not, we looked pretty good against Burnley. I would potentially say even on decent form right now, playing against a Man U side who are definitely not on form. A full house at St James's Park would have made that a very good game. And even without that, I am still pretty hopeful. I think there's two sides to it. We played really well against Burnley, but we did not play well against Spurs, and we did not play against Brighton. I know Brucey's obviously had his critics for that. It's almost, we don't actually know what Newcastle is going to turn up on the day. We might turn up and be brilliant. We might turn up and be terrible. We literally don't know. And then with a good start, Ollie is under a lot of pressure. People are already talking about Poch coming in and all sorts. So I think for them, this is a bigger game than it is for us. I think they are the favourites going into the game, despite their start of the season. So there'll be a lot of pressure on them. I think if we can potentially get an early-ish goal, I'd like to think we could maybe get a few. But it could easily go the other way if we turn up and play like we did against Brighton.
Yeah, that's the thing. And like you said, it has been a bit hit or miss. And I spoke about this last week. Our start of the season, I feel like it's been such a roller coaster. You know, we had two decent shows, really. West Ham, the opening game was just fantastic, like a brilliant opening game to the season. Burnley, I agree with you. It was looking promising, you know, and then the momentum sort of broke because we have an international break. Yeah. But in between that, you know, those good displays, they're counteracted with the poor displays. You know, Brighton and Spurs were just awful. Our cup ties have not been anything to shout about. We've got incredibly lucky. The only thing is, I guess with us, with Burnley, I felt like we were definitely looking like a more organised side. And I feel the criticism leading up to that fixture was huge. You know, Steve Bruce was really in a position to do something about it and show that at least he was trying to form some sort of style of play and, you know, really starting to establish our identity, because we've lacked that majorly, and luck doesn't last forever. I think with Man United, I guess, firstly, although they're without Cavani and Martial, they still have really good options, you know, like Rashford, Mason Greenwood, Ighalo. They can all play up front. And then that's not even to mention Bruno Fernandes and the creativity he brings to that side. I think you're right about Ollie's pressure. He really, really is under pressure right now. And I feel like his days are limited, you know, and that was a huge, huge defeat for them. I just think that could work in their favour. I just think, you know, an international break, Yeah. And Ole Gunnar Solskjaer knows the pressure he's under. He knows he needs to deliver. He knows he needs to prove himself as a manager. And the boys likewise at the back end of that, you know, I'm not sure. But I do think then, you know, on the flip side, like I said, when we were looking like a better system against Burnley, I just think establishing a system that got the best out of the likes of like Callum Wilson and Alan Saint-Maximin, we really saw potential there, and I am excited to see them in action. I just hope Man United aren't hungry to sort of put right what they did wrong last time.
Yeah, I agree. I think them not having Cavani, Martial suspended, isn't he? So I think those are good things for us. And as I say, on paper, they are the favourites. Like, let's not make a mistake about that. Bruno Fernandes is a quality player. Rashford, Pogba, you know, I mean, he's probably worth majority of most of our first 11, let's be honest. So they are the favourite. They are the better team on paper. I'm just hoping we can come out and just play like we did against Burnley. And I don't, you know, like you said, I don't think we necessarily changed a whole lot for the Burnley game. I don't think we really tactically did too much different. I just felt like they went out there and they looked like they wanted it. They wanted to win the game. I felt like against Brighton, we just walked onto the pitch and went, all right, then we'll probably win this one. And then obviously got stuffed. I think we need to turn up. We need to want it. And like you said, I think Ollie will have been drilling this into them over the last 2 weeks, or the ones he can get his hands on, saying to them, you need to go out there and make up for this. And I think a lot of it could well be who wants it more. I think that's why we did so well against Burnley, because I think Steve Bruce battered them for a week going, you've made me look like an idiot. Now you need to go out there and show them that I'm not. I think that's a big reason why we did quite well. They are the favourites, but I suppose we're Newcastle fans, so we're always optimistic.
Yeah, and last season, you know, the same fixture, Matty Longstaff.
He's back.
1-0, you know, you never know. It might spur him on to do that again. That was a huge moment for him. And you can't underestimate Matty Longstaff when he's playing against Man United.
Exactly. He's just come back from injury just in time for the Man U game.
Exactly. What would you predict the score to be? I'm going to go for 2-1, and I'm going to say Matty Longstaff is going to score, but I think we're going to lose 2-1. And I'm sorry to say it, but I just, I'm not too positive, because a fiery, you know, full squad of Man United against us, I think, they'll be desperate to put right what they did wrong.
I already did some predictions, because I have a predictions video I'm doing this week, and I did not one for this one. So I already know. I went 1-1.
Okay.
I don't know. I feel like one of us should say Newcastle are going to win. I'll change mine to 2-1 Newcastle. Wilson pen, because we like scoring the pens at the minute, and Matty winner from outside the box.
Matty, I would absolutely love that. I would love that. Yeah, no, me too. Well, that's about it. Rob, thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me. It's been fun.
And like I said, Rob is known as Rubenstein on YouTube, and he produces a lot of fun, informative content. We discussed this before. You're more known for your vlogs, but you have been making do with the situation and creating content from home. So what can new subscribers expect from your channel?
Regular videos. I do some fantasy football stuff at the minute. I do my weekly predictions. As a Newcastle fan, there's always room for some Newcastle videos, but general football chat. So yeah, check it out, please. Subscribe if you want some football content.
I'll leave all the links in the description below, guys, so check it out. And also you can check out that pay-per-view reaction video that Rob did, which was nice and in-depth, and we saw some raw emotion in that, and I loved it.
Yeah, and we are going to do a video on my channel with Aisha as well, talking about a few bits and pieces, so be sure to take a look.
Yeah, check that out as well. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Remember, I upload these Newcastle updates every single Thursday, so subscribe for that, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!